We should completely eliminate the sale of assault rifles. That's
What is an
absurd.
assault rifle?
Oh, you know what?
What is an assault
go
rifle?
online and look up the
What is
definition
it?
of an assault
I'm
rifle.
asking you,
and the
if you want
rifles-
to ban them, tell me,
I
what
had
is an
something-
assault rifle?
Listen, I had something I was going to ask you before I, because I
What
have to get
is an
going.
assault rifle?
I have to get going. Can I ask you one question?
What is an assault
Can I
rifle?
ask you a question?
Can someone answer a question for me about the $31 million from the NRA says he ain't gonna do shit? Can someone explain that to me, just like from your guys' words, what that means?
Oh, I can absolutely explain it from you. His campaign got $31 million from the NRA. How can you expect anybody, when quid pro quo is almost always a part of every kind of political gambit like that, to do something seriously, about gun control? And
What should we do about gun control?
Oh, I should straighten. What should you do about gun control? When you say we, who are you talking about?
What should Trump do about gun control? What should the politicians do about gun control?
The politicians should take seriously the idea that we have the most lenient and permissive gun ownership and acquisition laws of any developed nation, and not coincidentally the highest gun homicide rates of all developed nations. And when we look at these other developed nations that have minuscule, infinitesimal fractions of our gun homicide rate, and we see their gun control laws, they're very strict. They're very persistent about, acquisition and ownership tracking and so forth, and not just anybody can get a. Do you know there are 39 states where it's easier to buy a gun than it is to vote?
Do you know about Vermont's gun laws, Vermont?
I know that if you select a specific state and try and use that as applicable to the rest of the nation, it's usually
So
not.
why are we comparing foreign nations to America?
Because foreign nations are entire countries that have similar types of phenomena at play, and they're better comparisons than individual states. I know that a lot of the things I've read, I've been on InfoWars before.
Do you like us?
No, I think you guys disseminate a lot of disinformation. You're part of that.
Can you give me one example?
Oh yeah, I can give you probably lots of examples, but one of the things I have read on InfoWars, their take on gun control. And of course, they're very against even the most sensible gun ownership laws. And I think what happens is you look at the statistics that a lot of people like InfoWars or Fox News use, and they come from old FBI studies from 2000, no, not even FBI, that guy who was a criminologist at Florida State. And there's studies that
Let me ask, if you know about all statistics, let me ask
I don't know
you,
about
do
all
you
statistics.
know?
I didn't claim that.
Okay, well, that's how you're acting. Do you know how
I'm
many
not
lives
acting.
are saved every year due to defensive use of firearms?
No, I know very few. When you look at the
No,
stats,
that's not true.
that is
That's
true.
not true.
Listen,
That is very
let
few.
me quote something.
Well,
You're
no,
asking me questions.
Okay,
Let
go
me quote
ahead.
something.
Tell me something wrong.
And this came from the FBI. If you are a gun owner,
That's not what I'm asking.
not
I'm
saying you.
asking about
I'm
the
saying-
statistic.
I'm
How
talking
many
about
lives
statistics.
are saved
Very
every
few.
year? That's not true.
No, that is
That's
true.
not true.
If you own a gun,
I want a
legitimately-
number. I want a
I
number.
will give you a number.
I want a number. How many lives are saved every year?
They're very, very few. I can tell you this
Up
much.
to 3 million lives are saved
Oh,
every year
that's
due to
BS.
defensive.
That's
That's
BS.
literally
Let me tell you
found by the
something.
CDC.
No, let me tell you something. The CDC didn't find that. They're not allowed to study
Yes,
gun
they
effects
are.
on society.
Yes,
No,
they are.
aren't.
They do
The
every
Dickey
year.
Amendment made it so the CDC cannot
They
even.
do.
The CDC
Obama
cannot
told them
research.
not to.
No, the CD. No, that wasn't Obama. Dickey was a Republican politician who came and pushed through an amendment that forbade.
Obama
the CDC.
asked them not to. The
No,
CDC
you
did
got-
do a
you know what?
study.
Listen, you're just showing
Yeah,
me
how
what a
many people-
discredited outlet you work for. Because I'll tell you
You're getting
something.
emotional
I'm
over
not
me
getting
telling you a
emotional. I'm trying to
statistic.
tell you you've got the wrong. Let me tell you something. And this is a statistic. The fact is, if you look up the Dickey Amendment, Jay Dickey was a Republican politician who put that through, and it basically says it's really crushing the First Amendment in protection of guns. It says the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, that studies the ill effects of just about everything else on our society, drugs, media, and so forth, they are not allowed to study and disseminate information
why did
on
they?
the ill effects of guns.
Why did
didn't.
they? They
didn't.
did.
No, wrong. And look.
So
at,
those
well, I'm gonna
statistics
ask
are
you to look- I'm
wrong.
gonna
They're
look at-
just
I'm
wrong.
going to ask you to look at a statistic from the FBI. I think it was 2012. It said that if you are a legitimate owner, right, a licensed owner of a gun in the United States, your chances of using it effectively in a self-defense maneuver are less than 2%. So this whole idea of a good guy with a gun always beats a bad guy with a gun, it's BS.
Do you
And I
know
saw that
where
on
98% of mass shootings happen? 98% of mass shootings, where do they happen?
But that's a statistic I'm not sure of.
Gun-free zones.
Oh,
Gun-free
no,
zones.
You know what? Here's the thing. Another statistic that I saw.
Do you
on
believe
InfoWars-
me? Do you believe me that
You know,
98%
I'm
of
not
mass
gonna-
shootings
I'm not-
happen in gun-free
I'm not-
zones?
First of all, I'm not going to comment on a statistic.
Do
I'm
you
not familiar
believe me?
with. I would have to look it up. I don't believe because you're from InfoWars. I'm much I'm much less likely to believe.
Would you believe CNN if they told you that?
You know what?
Would you believe CNN if they told you that?
CNN probably would not tell me that. So
No, because thank you for admitting their bias. They wouldn't tell you
well,
that
no,
98%
because I don't think it's a
of
legitimate
mass
statistic.
shootings
I've
happen
read
in gun-free
Infowars,
zones.
And I know how you guys manipulate statistics. Listen,
That's from the FBI.
No,
That's from the government.
Let me tell you an FBI. There are a lot of FBI statistics that you can find, and some counter others, right? What I'm telling you is that one of the things I did read on Infowars, and let me finish this, was they used as an example of gun-free zones Chicago, and they said, Chicago has this horrible crime occurrence with guns, and yet they have some of the strictest gun laws in the nation, and then they cited what their gun laws restricted in terms of gun stores in certain areas. They were using statistics that were pre-2010 when Mayor Daley made it, basically a very, very strict gun control area. Since then, those laws have been repealed, and that's when you see the spiking on the charts. So groups like Infowars
Actually,
and Fox,
it's found around the whole nation.
And another
The
thing,
more people, are you going to
Chicago
let
is-
me talk?
No, let me finish what I was
No,
saying, 'cause
I don't
you're
want to talk.
interviewing me.
So you said that we
I can-
can't
you know
pick
what,
out certain
no, if
states,
I
but we
wanna
can
know-
we
if
can
I
pick
wanna
out
know-
certain
If
cities.
I want to know what you think, I can go on Infowars and read it. You're coming and pulling somebody out of a crowd, and I'm telling you what I've read and what I know. And one of the things I do
What
know
you read
also-
and what you know is wrong.
No, it's not wrong. It's because it's been corroborated by a lot of different outlets. I don't just watch television. I read a lot of publications, and I verify things. I'm a research writer. That's what I do for a living.
You're a research writer.
So-
What should we do
so-
about the guns? What policies would you like to see implemented?
First of all, we're moving in a direction, at least mandatory background checks. We should basically make it much more difficult for people to own a gun than it is for some people to vote. And there are 39 states where it's easier to vote in terms of the restrictions on what you need to show than it is to buy a gun. That's wrong. We should stop allowing gun shows and online retailers to sell guns to just about anybody with
You
few
have to go
background
through.
checks.
What are few background checks?
I'm
There is
telling
one
you.
federal background check that everybody has to go through to buy a gun from an FFL dealer or even online.
Then if that's the case, why are so many young people under the age of 18 oftentimes getting guns at trade shows where there's almost no checks on them whatsoever?
That's not true.
Oh, that is
That's
true.
not true.
That is true.
They can lose their FFL license because of doing that. Private sales are legal in Ohio. I'm from Ohio. They are legal in Ohio, and I think that's absolutely great. I should be able to sell my property to whoever I want. That's the basis of capitalism. That's the basis.
You shouldn't have been able to get it so easily in the beginning. I'm not talking about reselling.
I'm talking.
Okay, go ahead.
So in the beginning, if you go to a gun store and you buy a firearm, you have to go through a background check. That's federal law. There is nowhere where you're going to a gun store and you're leaving with a gun without a background check. That's not true. And gun shows, those are FFL dealers there that you have to get a background check.
And yet in terms of those checks and the screening that you have to go through, do you know in those 39 states I was referencing, many of them do not require some kind of photo ID for buying a gun, and yet they do for voting. Now, how ridiculous is
What
that?
states are those? Because that's
You know
not
what?
true. I worked
Okay,
in a
you
gun
expect me
store.
to spit out those
I
states,
worked in.
right?
Yes, I
mean,
do. If
well,
you're going
no.
to cite it, I do expect you to
came
spit
and
it
asked
out.
me for an interview. I'm a public citizen walking by here. You work for Infowars. You should be able to refute what I'm saying and tell me the states.
I'm going to tell you that I worked in a gun store. We have a federal background check that is used in all 50 states. All 50 states use this same federal background check. You have to have an ID because you have to list it on there, their ID number.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this one thing, and I have to get going because I have to get ready for something. But I'm going to ask you one thing to answer this. If you think that first of all, do you believe that we have adequate gun rules in here in this nation to protect? You don't. Okay.
No, we should have zero gun laws.
Oh, we should have zero. Okay.
There are more than 20,000 gun laws on the books.
That's probably
What's
one
one
of the
more
most
that
absurd-
we need?
Do you know that the gun
What's
industry?
one more that we need? We have 20,000 gun laws. What else could we possibly
First
need?
of all, we should completely eliminate the sale of assault rifles. That's
What is an
absurd.
assault rifle?
Oh, you know what?
What is an assault rifle?
Go online and look up the
What is
definition
it?
of an assault
I'm
rifle.
asking you,
and the
if you
rifles-
want to ban them, tell me.
I
What
had
is an
something-
assault rifle?
Listen, I had something I was going to ask you before because I
What
have to get
is an
going.
assault rifle?
I have to get going. Can I ask you one question?
What is an
No,
assault
can
rifle?
I ask you a question?
If
First
you
of all-
wanna ban my
first of all,
property,
you've
tell
completely
me
discredited
what an
yourself
assault
by saying
rifle
we should
is.
have no gun restrictions. Let me ask you this.
What is an assault rifle?
I want to ask you something. If we are the most lenient and permissive nation in the world, especially in the developed world, in terms of gun acquisition and ownership laws, and we also have the highest gun homicide rate.
You brought this
didn't
up
let me finish.
before.
No,
That's
I know,
not
but
true.
I mean, it is
What
true.
is an assault
Wait
rifle?
a minute. You said that's not
You
true.
said
You're
that-
saying it
well,
is
you said
true.
we want to ban an
I'm
assault
going back
rifle.
to the
What
core
is an
issue.
assault rifle?
I'm going
Just-
back to the core issue. I'm talking about. I'm talking
What
about
is an
gun
assault
rules in general.
rifle?
You're
What
getting
is an
in the
assault
minutia,
rifle?
in the weeds. This is what I'm
No,
gonna
that's
ask you.
very
See, this is
important.
like
If you
what
want to
InfoWars
ban,
is.
please
They
don't
make
touch me.
distractions for
Please
little
don't
side
touch
issues.
If you want to ban my
I didn't
property,
touch
tell
you.
me what
Let
it
me-
is.
You're in my personal
Tell me
space,
what it
okay?
is.
your
What
mic-
is an assault
can your
rifle?
Can your mic reach me here? Okay, let me tell you something. Forget
What
the
is
issue
an
of
assault?
rifle.
You said you want to ban
You're
it.
skirting the issue,
You
ma'am.
said you want to
Let me
ban
ask
an
you
assault
something. Let me
rifle.
ask
What
you
is
something.
an assault
Let me
rifle?
ask you something. If
He's
you-
not going to answer because he
No.
doesn't know what it is. He wants to ban our property. This should
You know what,
seriously
see, this
concern
is
a
one
lot
of
of
the things
people.
of right-wing media. What they do is they focus on the technical definition
If
of
you
a gun.
wanna
And if you
ban-
don't know the technical definition
I want to
of a gun,
explain to you
you've
the
discredited yourself.
importance. Can I
Let me
explain to
tell-
you
I
the
wanna explain
importance
something
of
to you,
it?
because
I
keep
want to
trying go
change your
back.
mind.
We're not going anywhere.
I want to change
Let
your
me,
mind.
Let me tell you one thing. Can I tell you one thing?
I want to change your
Give
mind.
me your microphone. Can I talk for one
No,
second?
okay.
Okay.
See, he wants to steal my
No, I
property.
don't want to steal it. Oh, so liberals
Will
are
you?
stealers, aren't they?
Absolutely,
Let me tell you
yes.
something.
Taxation,
No,
private
let me tell you
property,
something.
my guns.
know
You
what-
are
You know what?
stealers.
You benefit from taxation. The fact that you
No,
have
I don't.
The fact that you have
Really?
police protection,
Having to pay
libraries,
thousands of
the
dollars
fact
a
that you
year
have
is
fire
benefiting from
protection,
taxation.
The fact that you have public services available to you, you benefit every day from taxation, and you don't even realize it.
What is an assault
Listen,
rifle?
I have socks older than you. I don't think
What
you know
is an
enough
assault
about
rifle?
historical issues. Forget
What
this.
is an assault
Let me-
rifle?
You know what? Why do you keep poking on something that's
Because
a
I wanna
technical
change
issue?
your mind.
No, you're
I
not
wanna
going to change
change
my
your
mind.
mind.
Let me ask you something.
What is an assault rifle?
And I'm never going to change her mind.
No, but seriously,
All right.
this is why it's important
Okay,
to
I
know.
wanna go
I
back
want
to
to tell
one
you
fact. You're
why
ignoring-
is it?
Can I-
It's
can I see your mic
important.
for a second?
Tell those people they need to leave. Their trailers are on fire. They need to go home.
The importance why, sir, let me tell you. The importance why is because when people talk about assault rifles,
Oh,
he's not going to listen to any facts.
Can I give him to your friend? Hey, Larry. Where's Larry?
Does Larry know what an assault rifle is? What do you guys define as an assault rifle?
An assault rifle is a rifle that's designed to do nothing more than kill. Period. Has no other logical purpose. What is it then?
Self-defense.
Self-defense?
Or let's first define our term. Come here. Let's first define our terms. What is an assault rifle?
A rifle used to assault somebody.
So an assault rifle is an automatic firearm
Look at the-
that
look at the
shoot.
definition.
Let me tell you
Go
the definition of an assault rifle by the military, by the government. Okay. So it fires multiple rounds with one pull of the trigger. It's an automatic firearm. It just goes right down. It feeds the whole magazine, the whole drum mag, anything you want to put in there. It all goes through with one pull of the trigger until you release it. Do you know how an AR-15 works?
That's beside the point.
What's the difference?
What's the difference? No, the difference is because let me tell you guys why it's important. Let me tell you.
Hold on. Time out.
They won't let me talk. Let me tell you.
What does assault mean?
Assault is a verb.
Assault is a verb, right?
Yeah.
Okay. A rifle
So
is
it's something. So by your definition, if someone went around assaulting someone with your hat is now an assault hat.
It is an assault hat. No, because it has a legitimate purpose, not as a weapon.
So
But yes,
let me
if I
tell
go
you
around
this.
Assaulting, if I smack you upside the head with this,
It's an
it's
assault
an
hat.
assault hat. Absolutely.
So should we ban it just because we put the word assault in front of it?
That's the stupidest. That is the stupidest logic I've ever heard.
A gun
You're
is
trying
meant to
compare
defend a
rifle-
life. A gun is meant to
comparing
defend a
rifle
life.
to hat.
How do you defend yourself with a gun?
Well, let's ask the 3 million people who do every year. You can defend it.
people with it.
No,
That's how
you
you
can
defend
brandish your firearm, and that deters
How many
crime.
rounds does it take to
Knowing
defend yourself?
it depends on what gun and what kind of situation you're
Do you
in.
need 30? Do you need a full clip? If you come and attack
It's not
me
called a
with gun?
clip. It's not even called a
Magazine.
clip.
Excuse me, a magazine. You're an.
Remember, we are listener supported. We don't get billions of dollars from the government or Silicon Valley or George Soros. We are supported by you. So please go to InfoWarsStore.com and check out the highest quality nutraceuticals and supplements at InfoWarsStore.com.
InfoWars, tomorrow's news today.
The scientists at InfoWars Life have created a powerful formula for inflammatory support and joint support. Discover the power of ancient medicine with Bodies. Bodies contains one of the most potent forms of turmeric available. Turmeric has been used for thousands of years and is one of the most studied herbals today. It is well known in traditional medicine for its soothing properties. Our pure turmeric extract plus piperine from black pepper makes for optimal absorption to help boost and support your flexibility, mobility, joint function, immune system, and so much more. Regular turmeric root from the store only contains 1 to 5% of active ingredients, but our turmeric root extract contains over 95% of the active ingredients. Bodies combines turmeric with organic herbs such as spearmint, sage, lemon balm, and thyme to work synergistically for full body support. Try Bodies today at InfoWarsLife.com or call us at 188-253-3139.